Okay, guys, we had a fantastic week of wrestling. Well, on the AEW side at least. And there was a horrible time of wrestling somewhere else. We're going to get into all of it on this week's episode of what, Lionel?
On this week's episode of Off the Top Rope.
Ooh, boy.
You know how it's going to go. We're going to get straight into it like we did last week.
Yep.
But first, you know we can't talk about anything other than WrestleMania weekend first.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Main thing is I did not watch. I saw people crashing out last night. It seems like a lot of the WWE fans are very happy right now. I don't know what happened on Raw. But yeah, they seem very happy right now. But the main thing we have to talk about is WWE buying AAA. If you don't know, if you're living under a rock, it was announced on Saturday that WWE has acquired AAA, which is a Hispanic Lucha Libre promotion, a rival to CMLL down there. Like, they have a long history of just shit against each other. WWE has bought them. This comes after the news of you running Arena Mexico in a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
Like right after. I don't know if I'm pretty sure. Like, I don't think you can buy a company in a day. I don't know if you can do that. I'm pretty sure you can't. But it's just a wild coincidence that all this is kind of happening at the same time. And a majority of the wrestling world freaked out because everyone knows what this means.
Yep. Just means they're trying to do they're having a hard time competing. So now they're going to just try to buy up all the companies again to try to make it a monopoly again.
Yep.
Which ain't going to happen this time.
It can't. There's an AEW in the way now. It's impossible now.
It's not possible now.
But yeah, there are a lot of speculation and stuff like that coming out from this now. It's been a couple days since this has happened now. There's a rumor that they're going to change the name of AAA to NXT Mexico. Like, there are a lot of rumors spread around. We don't know what's true. The only thing that we know that is true for sure is that WWE has bought AAA. And it seems like Conan's very happy about that because, of course he is.
Of course he is.
WWE has now reacquired Alberto Del Rio. But they also got Vikingo.
You know what? Hey, it's whatever, right? Vikingo's good when he's not hurt half the year, right? He got hurt like 4 times last year, and it was a significant amount of time. So, hey, good for him. He's going to have to... He could tone down his style, and he'll have some longevity. I guess that's probably the only good thing to come out of it. But he's going to make a lot less money.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, Stephanie Vaquer has come out and said that she makes less money in WWE, right? There have been a lot of weirdos in my mentions over the last couple of days. I don't know if you saw any of that, but a lot of people, like, you heard about how bad the WrestleMania main event was last night.
Oh man, people blew up about that.
People blew up about it, and from something that I noticed, we're gonna get back to AAA. We're gonna talk about two because we have to talk about it. But I gotta talk about WWE fans really quick because this kind of ties into it. There was a couple people who, while I was scrolling last night, because I was curious. I wanted to see what people were talking about. A lot of them were saying, "Man, it's too bad AEW also sucks because I would be able to really enjoy that." And I'm sitting there like, wait, the AEW part sucking is irrelevant. So you tell me the only reason that you're watching WWE is because you think AEW is bad? Like, okay, like, why are you doing that? That's a really weird thing to say. Like, there was one dude specifically who was like, man, if AEW wasn't dog shit, I wouldn't have to waste my time on WrestleMania. It's like, that's not how that works.
Yeah, that's not how this works. And that same guy, he got questioned by a whole bunch of other people. They're like, wait, did you even watch this week's episode? And he tried to say he did, but he didn't.
He definitely didn't.
We all know he didn't.
No.
Right? And he hasn't watched AEW in a while. And, I think he said like 2 years or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so you haven't been up on the product lately. And I'll tell you this, AEW is
no, there have been a lot of talks about that lately. Like, has AEW had like low points? Yes, for sure. I don't think AEW's ever been like awful to watch from like point in to point out. Like, no. There's always been a couple things that keep you invested on a show, no matter what. but I don't think there's ever been a point where it was just bad from beginning to end. A Dynamite Collision or even a Rampage. No. Not once.
No. And I even saw some people trying to... The cope started setting in, right? It started setting in. It started happening like this morning today. Where some people were like, well, even though WrestleMania was bad, you know, Dynamite wasn't better than WrestleMania. Or Dynamite and Collision weren't better than WrestleMania. I'm like, you're out of your goddamn mind.
False.
You are out of your mind.
I don't know how people, like... I don't get it, right? Prophet, you and I, we don't watch WWE, right? No. We haven't, we'll pop in, you'll pop in a little bit more than I do every once in a while, maybe. But me, I haven't watched it in a while. So I don't understand why, it's mostly WWE fans that I'm seeing this from now, by the way. Like, yeah. I don't understand why a majority of WWE fans want to like antagonize AEW fans. I don't get it. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like they need AEW to die or something. I don't understand. Meanwhile, they have people coming from AEW bigger than they ever been having matches on WrestleMania, right?
Yeah.
But AEW doesn't make stars.
They made stars for them.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't get why a lot of them are like this. There's another one for today. Today, like he was like, remember when AEW had Stephanie Vaquer and they fumbled? It was like, that's not even what happened. Like,
that's not what happened at all.
I quote tweeted him like, y'all are weird. It's just weird. There are some AEW fans that do this every once in a while, but it's a majority WWE fans that are weird like this. I don't see a lot of AEW fans doing what WWE fans do. I guess Raw after WrestleMania was good, so now they're all back on their high horse again. And it's weird.
Supposedly there was this is what I've seen from scrolling, right? Stephanie Vaquer versus Io Sky. That was the big match.
Okay.
On Raw tonight. Other than that, I haven't heard anything else. That's the only match people are raving about.
Okay, like that's great. That's probably a fantastic match. I'm not gonna lie. That's kind of heat. I'm not gonna lie. That's kind of heat. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No. I'm just saying. That's out of the whole show of Raw. That is the one match everybody has been talking about. The one match. I haven't heard shit else about Raw.
3-hour show, by the way. 3-hour show.
Yeah, I haven't heard shit else. So that's all I can say about that. I haven't watched the show. That's all I've seen. And usually, if an episode of Raw is somewhat okay, people talk about all the different segments in the matches. That is the only thing I've heard or seen so far.
And you know what? This leads me back to the acquisition of AAA. Because I don't know if some of these people are old enough or even cared at the time. But, Prophet, you and I are old enough to know what wrestling was like when WWE wasn't like the big dog in charge.
Was it or was?
Wasn't. When there were multiple big companies in America, specifically America.
Well, yeah, like, just depending on the time, right? Like, we'll talk 90s, right? When WCW was beating that ass, like, WWE completely changed. They had to. There was they had competition, right? But actually, I'll keep going with this. Then there was also ECW, right? ECW had their guys too. They were going back and forth between WWE and WCW until WWE had that weird working relationship with ECW before they eventually bought them, right?
Mm-hmm.
The difference between WWE then and now, a lot of people aren't going to like it, but I don't care. So WWE back then, or WWF, when WCW was kicking their shit in for all that time, instead of them just being like kind of stagnant and just like not caring about what the other guy is doing and then just like going to the beat of their own drum, they were looking at what they were doing and then they were producing a way better product. They decided to produce a good product. Now they even though AEW is just kicking the shit out of them on the wrestling side, right? And AEW is a threat all you heard WrestleMania weekend was AEW. That's all they talked about. Literally. Triple H, Nick Khan, what was it? Like, even Mark Henry was trying to bait AEW to talk about his release. Right? So he could talk shit. Nobody from AEW took it, but it's just, instead of trying to do all that, they decided to make their product better back in the day. Now they're not. Best way I could say this is, now they're not trying to do that.
Well, they don't have to. They have. You know what, Prophet? You're being really nice about it, and I respect that. I respect you for that.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna be honest. They have a lot of brainwashed people who only know wrestling when WWE stands alone at the top of the mountain. And so, and for whatever reason, this is the part that I don't get. Because now there is another company that is, we gotta be honest, it's a number 2 monetary wise, but wrestling and everything else wise, the number 1 company in America. Now that they're doing this and they're having great shows and they're hitting these accolades and they're getting these TV deals, now because they don't have to get better, and they have a bunch of drones and a bunch of like weirdos that watch their shows, and a bunch of MAGA people, by the way. Like let's also not let's not forget that. Like there's a lot of shit that came out of WrestleMania last week, even outside of their AEW bashing. That was really weird. But those fans, be it MAGA or not, but neither here nor there, WWE fans, there's a good majority online that will fight tooth and nail to the death against AEW for no reason, because they don't know any better. AEW existing kills them, which leads me to what WWE is doing now. WWE is taking a playbook from the 90s, like you were talking about before, because WWE bought out, or WWF at the time, they bought out ECW and WCW.
Right. Well, that was more like 2000s, right? The beginning of the 2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s, yeah. And they essentially shut those places down, right? They took all the talent they wanted and essentially shut those two companies down. Eventually, they brought ECW back, but it was a shell of itself in like the mid 2000s.
It wasn't ECW.
It wasn't ECW anymore. But yeah, they bastardized that. But that's what they do. That's what happened with Joe Hendry, which is another thing that people are being really weird about. Like, they're saying that Joe Hendry being there was great, even though he's literally a world champion, and he got destroyed, right?
Yeah, he got annihilated.
But that is apparently good for TNA because he was on the WrestleMania stage, and no, it's not. This is going to be the problem, because now that AEW has, or that WWE has done this and bought AAA, they're going to try to go out and buy more places and do their global takeover that they wanted to a couple years ago, right? They're going to do their damnedest to do it, and that is not good for wrestling.
No, not at all. And you know what? We already talked about the whole TNA deal. There's no goddamn planet where I send my world champion to another company, to a WWE, on the grandest stage, only for him to be squashed by a guy that's old and not a contender. He's not even a contender in his own company. Sure, it's Randy Orton, but I wouldn't job my world champion out to Randy Orton. Okay? Like, it's my world champion. It's the head of my company. Like, he's the guy carrying the torch for the company. What does that say about my company? What does that say about my world champion? My world champion is lesser than a guy that has no title. It isn't even a top contender for a world title in his company. That's dull, dude.
Yeah, it sucks. And people can who however they want around this. If they want this to be a match, world champions can lose. That is fine.
Right.
World champions can't lose like that. Like, it does not matter what anyone says. It doesn't matter what happens. And then to do his pose, make fun of him after. And people are like trying to circle that around too. Like, oh, that means he's over. Like, no, that's not what that means at all. I see a lot of people laughing at Joe Hendry right now online, by the way.
Yeah, no, call a jobber and he appears.
Yeah. Yeah. And that sucks for a world champion.
Yeah. He's your fucking world champion, man. You don't job out your world champion. Like, TNA, you had to have agreed with this. what the fuck are you doing? Like, seriously, what are you doing?
But this is what WWE thinks about people that they work with.
Yeah,
this is what they do.
NXT. That's all they think they are.
Yeah.
They're like, TNA, yeah, you're a good NXT. Oh, AAA, well, AAA is a bunch of 58-year-olds and like Vikingo, right? So yeah, they're just like old man NXT in Mexico, and then they'll take Pro Wrestling Noah, which is probably who they're going to try to take next.
I don't know how they're gonna have to buy that from. You either got to buy everything from Cyberfight, or Cyberfight's gonna have to do like a deal or something. I don't know what is going on, but
yeah. So like, if they did that, it's gonna be NXT Japan. Even though, like, a lot of the Pro Wrestling Noah wrestlers are, like, more technically sound than a lot of the WWE guys, or most of them.
Well, that's why they sent Almost over there, right?
They sent them over there.
Yeah.
They sent them over there because they're like, we'll send them over there for, a few matches. Went over there, instantly got over because Japan. Look, you send a 7-foot-tall black guy to Japan, he's getting over.
Giants.
He didn't have to really wrestle that good. But Omos is pretty decent, right?
He's all right.
So, Omos is decent at, decent wrestler too. He's a giant spectacle. He's big. He's not like some like fat guy or anything like that. He carries himself well. So like he went over there, he instantly got over in Japan, and WWE's like, "Oh hell no, he can't get over there. Get your ass back over here and sit in catering. Drop that title and get back to catering. We don't need you getting over."
Yeah, I don't get it. That's also part of the problem too. Is like there are a lot of people who think being in catering in WWE is better than being on a show somewhere else.
No, that's awful.
It's not. Plus, at this point now, they're also not getting paid well enough. Like again, Stephanie Vaquer said she took a pay cut. Like AEW offered her more, but she went to WWE because that's her dream, and that's fine. Like live your dream. That's fine, that's okay, but y'all getting paid less to do this, like, money should matter to you a little bit. Like if this is her stage, this is what she wanted, that's totally fine. But now they're gonna get paid less, they're gonna have to work more days just to say that you are on WWE. At this point, it's not worth it. They're not the only game in town anymore. You can make decent money in the indies also now.
Like Matt Cardona is like, I make more money in the indies than I ever did in WWE.
Yeah, it's very possible to do it, but this is. I think a lot of people are going to think that this is a bigger problem than it is, but now you don't have to worry about WWE doing this global takeover too much anymore because you have an AEW, and AEW right now actively respects their partnerships, right?
Right.
There's a whole thing about New Japan right now that we can talk about eventually, but that's. People are saying that's not looking great because of what's going on with Naito and Naito being Naito leaving. But
well, all right, we can talk about it a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have my own opinion about the Naito thing. You probably have a much longer and bigger opinion about it. But I know Naito has been like a mainstay in New Japan. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'm not even read up on the issue, like the real reason why he left, because like apparently there's something they need to fix, or something pissed him off to where he's like, "Nah, I'm not re-signing."
Apparently, yeah.
But have you guys seen old boy wrestle lately? He needs to, before he pops up anywhere, he needs to take a goddamn break, get fixed up first.
I'm not gonna drone on because you are right. I can definitely drone on this for a very long time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to though, because we have a great episode of Dynamite that we want to talk about pretty soon. But Naito, yes, Naito definitely he doesn't really have it too much anymore. He's not like if you watched the show from the 19th a couple days ago, that 5v5 elimination tag, Naito at the end of it, he looked rough. Yeah. Like he looked awful. But that's Naito's like the guy. Well, not the guy. That's not the right word at this point anymore either. Naito, he's not really the future either. Like,
right.
I don't see Naito going anywhere else though. Like, I don't see him popping up anywhere. I think he's gonna retire because he can't do this too much anymore. The problem with New Japan right now is you don't have an Okada anymore. You don't have an Ospreay. Naito, as much as he can't wrestle as good as he used to, is still a name. You don't have a Naito. January 5th, 2026, he's not going to be wrestling anymore. He's going to retire on the 4th at Wrestle Kingdom. And AEW. And New Japan hasn't really built a lot of stars. Like, they haven't really built up a lot of people. And that's that's the biggest problem right now with New Japan. Like I said, Naito, I think Naito retires. Like, I wholeheartedly believe he's either going to retire or he'll pop up like every once in a while somewhere in Japan. But realistically, I think he's done. People think that means New Japan's in a bad spot. I don't think New Japan's in a bad spot. New Japan still is selling out arenas over there. It's still doing a lot of really good things over there right now in Japan. But we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know where New Japan's going to be this time next year. They got to build a star at this next Wrestle Kingdom.
Well, they had a star. They should have just wrote on Zack Sabre Jr.
They should have. He was a great world champion also. Like, he's been a fantastic world champion. He lost to Goto, and I'm not that big of a fan of Goto's run right now. Granted, part of that is because of things like Jeff Cobb leaving in the middle of it, right? Like, he's supposed to be the one that's supposed to be challenging Goto, but now they have Callum Newman, and that, if you saw me on Blue Sky, you know I am not a fan of slotting Callum in there, because Callum is not ready for granted, there's no main event spot for him right now because they have a dog pound steel cage match happening, which I'm also not in agreement with, because that literally almost killed someone and literally ended somebody's career.
Yeah.
But it's New Japan's probably going to be in a tough place in a year. And no matter what happened with Naito, even if he can't wrestle that well, Naito could have kept them in a good place for at least another couple years. But he's leaving in a couple weeks. So
right.
The New Japan's gonna have to figure out what they're gonna do, because now they don't really have anyone. They don't have like a hot hand to ride on right now. Like Goto's championship reign is doing well. Tsuji looks pretty good right now as global champion. Shota seems like he's finally kind of getting cheered now, despite the fact that he's doing the same thing he was doing before, just now more stoic. So they have things that they can do. It's just now they're just really under the gun. I am interested to see what they do, especially after Naito leaves, because he's not even going to be in the G1 either. And then they also have a spot because Bushi's also leaving, and Bushi had a spot in Best of Super Juniors that's now gone because he's going to be leaving the same time Naito is, because they're best friends. And Bushi said, if Naito's leaving, I'm leaving. I don't want to be here without him. Like, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in New Japan right now.
Yeah.
But I rambled on all that to say that the people who are worried about we having a global monopoly, you don't have to worry about that, because we have an AEW. We still have a New Japan. We have a CMLL. There are really good partnerships. We have a Rev Pro. All these other companies are not bending the knee to WWE. So we do not have to live in the mid 2000s anymore, where if you want to watch a big company, you only have to watch WWE. You don't have to do that anymore.
There's a lot of other companies out there, man. Even if you take a moment, even watch some Ring of Honor, man. Like, Michael Aku showed up last week.
Yes.
Like, he of course he's trying to get himself on Supercard of Honor, but Michael Aku showed up, man. Which,
let me tell you about that really quick too.
Yeah.
Do you know where that was? Do you know where that Ring of Honor show was taped?
That was here, right?
Yes.
God damn it.
I didn't get to see him either. But yeah, Ring of Honor is doing, they're doing better. They're doing some good things right now. They just sold out their show in Texas.
Nice.
You have a Rev Pro that's doing great. Defy is doing fun things right now also.
Yep.
GCW, even though it feels like they might be bending the knee a little bit also, has been doing great things also. You have Acai Wrestling, which is a really good black indie promotion. If you're not watching that, it's all on YouTube for free. Watch it. There's a lot of wrestling out there. So if you really are worried about a global monopoly from WWE, you don't have to. We're not in the mid 2000s anymore. No. There's a lot of good wrestlers and a lot of good wrestling and a lot of good promotions out there now.
Yeah, there's a lot. Just go and watch it. And I would even say, I know they're partnered with WWE, but even TNA has their moments when they're not. Whenever the episodes where they don't have any NXT talent there are their best episodes. When there's NXT talent, it turns into a WWE production, and it's just gross.
You can enjoy that until WWE buys them out too.
Yeah, until they buy them out, right?
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
But if you watch like some of their, you can go through their library and watch like a lot of the stuff between like beginning of 2024 on, right, before they got into the partnership, and they were cooking, man.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of wrestling out there. Find which ones you want to watch, and yeah, WWE isn't the only thing in town. You're not forced to watch WWE. Try watching other wrestling. Just try it.
God,
you might like it.
I wish people understood that, because there were a lot of people. Let me get on my high horse for 2 seconds.
Get on there.
There were a lot of people talking a lot of shit about not watching WrestleMania over the weekend. Low-key, some people that I fucking follow were like, how dare they? After like Roman came out as like a Trump supporter, after Cena said the stuff that he did about Vince, which Cena's been very consistent about that. These aren't new statements. It's just whatever, right? Triple H taking like an hour for his own thing at the Hall of Fame. Paul Heyman today making a joke about a Mexican person saying that they were going to get deported because he said that they suck. Like a lot of things were being said, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, how dare! I'm going to grandstand. I'm not going to watch WrestleMania." And those same people were talking about it. I will be talking more about grandstanding a little bit later once we talk about AEW, because there's something that really got on my nerves. But I saw all of you who were saying, "Oh, I'm never gonna watch. I'm not gonna watch. Like, this is nasty," and you watched anyway.
You watched anyway.
I know y'all did, because I saw y'all tweeting about it. Man. Well, not tweeting, skeeting. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm not on Twitter. By the way, I don't have a Twitter anymore, so talk about standing on business.
Don't worry, they were tweeting on there too. Tweeting on Twitter too.
Mm-hmm. But that's it. I'm like I said, I'm gonna really get on my high horse. We'll talk about Dynamite, because there was a certain segment that people got up in arms about that y'all gonna hate me for what I'm about to say, because y'all gonna have to look at yourselves. But we'll get there when we get there.
Hey, if it's a segment I think you're talking about, I thought it was a great segment.
It was.
I thought it was a fantastic. It was a hilarious segment.
It was just people grandstanding because they are chronically online. But like I said, we'll get there when we get there.
And they're also full of shit, because they'll also say the Attitude Era was the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
With Godfather and the Hose. So
yep.
Yeah, they can shut the fuck up.
Doing low key worse shit. Bra and panty matches. Women weren't even taken seriously at all. But of course, this one segment of AEW is the one that is the worst thing that you've ever seen. Okay.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, we're gonna get to it. Yeah, don't worry.
I guess the question is, should we stop this recording and then start again, or do you want to just keep on going and go straight into AEW?
Let's see. Fuck it. Let's just go straight to AEW.
Let's do it.
All right, guys. We are gonna go straight to AEW Dynamite. And man, what a show! If you have 2 hours, hey, some of y'all had like, what was it, like 8 or 16 hours to watch a garbage show. If you have 2 hours or 4 hours, watch these two good shows that we about to put on you right now.
Talking about AEW pay-per-views for too long, but you're watching a 3-hour pre-show with nothing on it, and then a 4-hour show or 3.5-hour show. Okay.
Yeah, but we're watching AEW. We're going to talk about AEW Dynamite. That was all gas.
Oh yeah.
Now, at the beginning of Dynamite, Excalibur's like, "Hey, Hook got attacked. He got attacked by the Death Riders, so he's out of tonight's main event match." And Samoa pissed, of course, and he's like, "No, we're coming out tonight. We're still fighting the Death Riders." There's a good reason why later.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big reason why later.
Oh yeah.
So, the very first match, I thought this was going to be later in the card, but when Dynamite starts like this, when an AEW show starts like this, the whole show is going to be fucking fire.
Mm-hmm.
We had Mercedes Monet versus Athena.
My God.
God damn, that was a good match.
Hell yeah, man. Jesus Christ.
Okay, hold on. Before I talk about the match, if I had a camera right now, I'd be staring right at whoever the fuck is at HBO right now. HBO Max.
Uh-oh.
Hey, you sons of bitches, put the damn replay for Dynamite. You guys don't have Dynamite on there. You have Collision, but you don't have Dynamite. The fuck is you doing? Get that shit on there. Because I need to see this match at least 2 more times.
One day, Prophet, you will see the light of switching over to what I told you about before that I'm not going to talk about here, because if I did, it's going to get shot again, and I don't want that to happen. But
No.
one day switch over, Prophet, is fine.
I'm still upset. God damn it. Anyway, let's get back to the show. You know, that was my little rant at HBO Max right now. But Mercedes Monet versus Athena was so goddamn good of a match. Look, right in the beginning of the match, they had the most fierce collar and elbow tie-up that they held onto it, flew outside the ring, went around the ring, got back in the ring. They went everywhere with it. It was just like, it was a battle of attrition. That's what this match was. There was a lot that happened. It was a lot of back and forth between both. So there was like one spot where they went outside the ring and Athena did that shotgun drop kick to Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
And knocked her into the, what was it? Knocked her into the, it's not really guardrail because it had the video thing on there. But she hit the thing so hard it broke it.
It looked nasty.
That shit was, whoo. Yeah, like, there was a point where Athena power slammed Mercedes on the apron. That was another nasty one, too. Like, look, you watch this match, they were not holding back. They were hitting each other hard, too. But yeah, man, like, so the winner of this match was Mercedes. Mercedes pulled it out. She won, like, I think it was via roll-up.
With the tights. Cheater, pumpkin eater.
So, she barely, like, look, if she didn't get that roll-up, Athena was going to win.
Oh, yeah.
Athena was beating that ass, that whole match. Mercedes was holding on. It was holding in there. But, whew, she was coming at Mercedes like the Terminator, dude. But, you know, Mercedes, you know, rolled her up and, you know, held the tights at the end. And she advanced to the finals of the Owen and Hart Cup. So at the end of it, Mercedes was in the ring. And then we had a thing that, well, you know, Timeless Tony Storm was in the crowd, you know, giving her a little round of applause with her and Luther. So
I want to note this too before we go. Tony Storm standing in front of a trans flag, especially during the time when WWE was doing what they were doing and talking about what they were talking about. It was just nice to see.
Oh yeah. Well, we could talk later about. Well, we talked about it in the beginning, and I forgot to mention this. The WWE last week was a PR disaster. By the way, a complete disaster. Like, yeah, that's all that needs to be said beyond what we talked about at the beginning. WWE, it was a PR fucking disaster. They are idiots, and they forgot who their audiences are. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, at this point. We'll talk. Well, I'm guessing at some point we'll talk about it eventually, but for right now, we got to stick with this hot AEW Dynamite hotness.
Yep. Actually, what did you think about the match, man?
It was probably like it definitely was like one of my favorite matches of the night. I can't say my most favorite, but easily, like, I flip between that one and the other one that we're going to talk about later tonight as my two favorites, back and forth. I can never top which one, but match was fantastic. I guess I wasn't surprised that Mercedes won. I'm for sure not surprised that she cheated to do it. And Athena's been talking a lot, saying like run it back and do all this kind of shit. So I'm pretty sure Athena's going to see Mercedes again pretty soon.
Oh yeah, they're running that shit back at All in Texas.
They have to.
There's no way they're not. So backstage, we have Renee Paquette with the Hangman. And of course, right when the Hangman is about to talk, somebody pops up. It's the Young Bucks. And they're like, hey, you could thank us ahead of time. And Hangman's like, the whole time the Young Bucks were talking, Hangman was like, what the hell are you guys talking about? What do you want? And, the Bucks pretty much said they wanted Hangman to win. And they're looking forward to seeing him win, then win the title, and then bring it back to the Elite. And then they, and Hangman was not having, he had a look. He was like, what the hell are you talking about? What? On what planet am I bringing it to the Elite? And, at the end, we had a comedy thing from Okada. Of course, he asked Hangman why he's so angry, and he told him to smile. And Hangman almost went at him. He's like, hey, Smile, bitch. So, of course, the next match was Hangman Adam Page. He was in the ring, and we were waiting for the wild card. Now, if you guys go back about 2 episodes, we told you who the wild card was. But it's great to see him for the best wrestler because he is one of the best. The walking weapon, Josh Alexander.
And he has his theme. I did not expect him to come out with that walking weapon theme. The one he had near the end of his TNA run.
Yeah. See, you took the words right out of my mouth because I was about to say the same damn thing.
Man.
He has that badass theme song from the end of his TNA run. I think he pretty much owns it, right? He has to.
Has to. I mean, if he has it on AEW, he has to own it.
Right. So, man, look, I can't tell you guys how glad I am to see Josh Alexander in AEW. He is, like, once I got it, you know, believe it or not, my first time watching Josh Alexander wrestle was at a TNA, I think it was Bound for Glory. They're live.
Oh, that was your first time seeing him?
That was my first time seeing Josh Alexander.
Oh my God, bro. I did not know that.
Yeah. Because I was like, I always heard about him. I was like, and there, you know, I heard the stat. He was like one of the longest reigning X Division champions. But I never, you know, I wasn't watching TNA that much then, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was what was it? It wasn't the when he did the match with Christian. Then I was caught up. I was smartened up about him. So I think that was Bound for Glory where he went against Christian.
Mm-hmm. For the TNA World Title.
Yeah, and then Moose came in and took it from him
when
he lost. But it's the one before that. Because they did the 2 in a row. It was Bound for Glory and I forgot what the other ones was, but it was that one. That was my first time seeing Josh Alexander. After that, because I think it was him and versus Steve Macklin or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Another one, it was my first time seeing wrestle, and I was like, these guys are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, after that, I was like, okay, yeah, Walking Weapon's the shit, dude. He's definitely worth the hype, you know.
I lovingly call him my second Canadian goat. It was just after waiting for so long. Well, actually, it wasn't that long. Realistically, it was just long for us because we were expecting him. We wanted him to show up like before, right? But it definitely was nice to see him.
Yeah, it was great to see him, and now he can wrestle everywhere.
They had shit. We're gonna talk about him twice now because he wrestled on both shows, but we'll get there.
Well, yeah, we also need him to get that G1 run, but we're talking too far ahead into the future.
Shit, with Naito being gone, they probably have a couple open spots, and let's not give them to like Yujiro and fucking Chase Owens and shit.
No.
Call some people from the Don Callis family. Like you already know Takeshi's gonna be there because Takeshi got the contract. Takeshi's going to be in the G1. Walking Weapon should be in there also. I would also love Kyle Fletcher to be there also, but I'm not gonna ask for too much.
I don't think Kyle Fletcher will make it there.
Nah.
Because right now his AEW trajectory is like through the roof.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a good match. He was, pretty much showing everybody what, this was your first intro to Josh Alexander. First off, welcome. Second off, watch a lot. Go back and watch his matches because he's fucking good, man. So with this match, him and Hangman were knocking the shit out of each other at one point. They were doing these chops. Hangman was powerbombing. All kinds of shit was happening. Hangman eventually wins. But at the end, what was it? Don Callis comes out. Well, no, it was Kyle Fletcher that came out. Him and Hangman started fighting. Hangman was beating the shit out of Kyle Fletcher. And Don Callis, because Josh Alexander, he was outside the ring waiting for something. Waiting for them to get out of the way so he could go to the back. But Don Callis got in his ear. And, the two Canadians started talking. And, Josh Alexander rolled in the ring and fucked him up. He messed Hangman up and they started beating him up. Yeah. It was a great match. Great ending. And this pretty much showed, hey, immediately Josh Alexander's going to the Don Callis family.
All right. I know we got to talk about the match. But something that a lot of people noticed over that episode of Dynamite, especially when they were all standing together, Don Callis Family is a faction full of hosses.
Yes.
They have Lance Archer, Konosuke Takeshita, fucking Mark Davis, Kyle Fletcher, Brian Cage, and motherfucking walking weapon Josh Alexander.
Yeah.
Bell for bell, the best faction in AEW. There's not a faction in AEW that can out wrestle them.
No, not at all. Like, shit. Look, if the Death Riders decided to piss off the Don Callis family, they'd be in trouble.
Bro, why do you think they steer completely away from them?
Yeah, because there's no way, dude. Like, they would get destroyed by the Don Callis family.
Exactly.
Yeah, right now you can't touch the Don Callis family. There's no way. Mm-mm. You gotta pray that some of them are injured or something. Because bell for bell, you ain't out wrestling any of them, and that's the bigger guys, which is like Brian Cage and Lance Archer. You know, the murder machines. You know, they're ridiculous, and then the rest of them. And yeah, there's no way. Just no fucking way.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, man. So what did you think about the match between Adam Page and Josh Alexander?
I definitely thought it was a good one. Like you definitely kind of expected Hangman to win, right? Like it just feels like the men's Owen Hart is a lot more predictable than the women's Owen Hart currently, right? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of just expecting him to win. But it was nice seeing Josh Alexander wrestle. It's nice to see Josh Alexander immediately get into more screen time, which is also nice. AEW's been a lot better about that with a lot of people they've been picking up this year too. So yeah, it was a really good match. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I do like the fact that he joined the Don Callis family. I think Josh Alexander can talk, but he doesn't have to, and all he has to do is focus on wrestling. You got a monster.
You got Don Callis as a mouthpiece, and I don't care what anybody says. Don Callis is one of the best promos in professional wrestling.
Oh, easy.
Has been for a long time.
There's no question about it. Like there's very few that are above him or like at his level. Mm-hmm. Right? Like the only one people will probably say is just Paul Heyman, right?
Which Paul Heyman is definitely a great promo. Like for sure.
For sure. Yeah. There's no arguing that.
No, it isn't.
You think about great promo guys, it's like I would say like the top 3 managers right now is, it would probably be, I haven't watched a whole lot of WWE, but, we'll throw Paul Heyman in there.
Yeah. I mean, it's always kind of like a given. Like, Paul Heyman's going to, like, show his ass. He's going to do, well, he literally showed his ass today. But, he's going to do his thing on when he's talking.
Yeah. So, Paul Heyman, Don Callis, and I'm going to add one up there. People might not agree, but I don't care. Prince Nana.
At this point, people don't think Prince Nana is top 3. They haven't been watching what he's been doing in AEW, especially even over like the last 3 months. Like even if you take from Ricochet on top 3.
Yeah. Easy. Yeah. Easy. Like there's no question.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But yeah, man, like him joining the Don Callis family, having Don Callis as the mouthpiece, and all he has to do is just murder people in the ring. Yeah. That's all you need Josh Alexander to do. Mm-hmm. Just go in there and wrestle the shit out of somebody. That's all you need him to do. And get a few titles. Get that international championship, which that title scene is going to be insane very soon. Yeah. If it isn't right now, right? Like, I know he's going for that title.
Eventually, I think. I definitely do want to see what goes on next with Josh Alexander. We have a little bit of time, though. Like, right now, he doesn't really have, like, a full direction. We just know he's in Don Callis family. But I'm pretty sure by, like, Dynamite, we'll be able to see. We'll have a good idea on where he's going to be going next.
Yep. It's going to be great. I can't wait. Mm-hmm. Right after this, we had the patriarchy backstage. Christian Cage is back, and, he told Nick, Daddy's home. Nick Wayne was pretty much like, hey, I don't think you stuck to the plan because you couldn't stand it. You wouldn't be able to stand it if Cope got the title before you did. And, Christian, kind of brushed it off. He was pissed off, but he kind of brushed it off. And he's like, yo, that's an assumption. That's not a fact. But he's like, but, I pulled some strings and I got you into the Super Juniors, and I also got you a Ring of Honor TV title match on Collision. And none of us are going to be by ringside, and you're going to show everybody that you can win by yourself, pretty much. And yeah, so
I low key think it's kind of funny that in storyline, Christian somehow has an in with Gato to get him into the Super Juniors.
Yes, he pulls strings with Gato.
With Gato to get Nick Wayne into the Super Juniors, which is, great call, Christian. But we don't have to go super far into this. But this is start what we were talking about a couple weeks ago, where we saw what happened with Cope, with that Adam Copeland and FTR.
Yeah,
we already see what's happening between the patriarchy. So what we were talking about a couple weeks ago is already starting to get set up, because Nick Wayne has been a douche to his father. So we're getting pretty close to seeing the reunion. It's not going to happen for a while because Nick Wayne leaves pretty soon for Best Super Juniors, but it's only a month, and he'll be back with enough time to continue his this feud and to get where we're going.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see where this ends up and how it ends up going down.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, can't wait. That was a pretty interesting backstage thing. We know Christian's back now, so be prepared to see him everywhere. So next up, we had an AEW Tag Team Championship match between the Hurt Syndicate and the Gates of Agony. Boy, this was one of my favorite matches of the week, by the way. Let me tell you. You want to say big meaty men slapping meat?
Hell yeah, man. Jesus Christ.
This was the match, and the Gates of Agony were not, dude, they were really hitting the fucking Hurt Syndicate. They were going hard this match. It was a very snug match.
It was dope because we got to see Bobby Lashley actually doing a lot in this match too.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was great. They were Gates of Agony. I love the fact that the Hurt Syndicate, or Lashley and Shelton, that they went out there, they sold for him, and they showed everybody why the Gates of Agony are like, they're a threat, and they let them, they sold for them, they helped make them look great. They made them look good, right? They didn't make them look like shit. They didn't squash them or anything like that. The Gates of Agony looked fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
In this match, and they looked like they should. Those guys are monsters. Yeah, man. It was so of course, Hurt Syndicate won, and it was, I think it was Bishop Khan was the one that took the pin after, of course, the suplexes and the spears and death that happened in the ring when Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley get going. They get going, they're like unstoppable. So right after the match is where the fake controversy happens.
God bless.
MJF came down to the ring, and of course he congratulated the Hurt Syndicate, and he's like, "Hey, I can give you guys. Here's the deal. I can give you guys something. I can show you what I bring to the table, and And he's like, I'm not just talking about bringing myself to help you guys out. And he's like, I got some talent in the back that's dying to meet you. And he's like, wait. They were trying to argue, and he's like, hold on. You're gonna want to see this, and then he brings them out, and it was a line of women, and they all got in the ring, and then what happened was MJF was trying to get them to revote. Of course, he almost has Shelton. Shelton's teetering, he's cracking. He almost has Shelton there. Shelton Benjamin also gave him his watch.
Mm-hmm.
Shelton almost gave the thumbs up, but he ended up giving the thumbs down, and MJF sees it. He's like, hey, I'm growing on you. I see it. It's just a matter of time. So, after that, they pretty much all leave the ring. After this, the part that goes with this, they were backstage. Bobby Lashley was talking to MVP. He was like, hey, I still don't trust MJF. And, and MVP was like, hey, this is business. He's like, so, we can let him in, but if he messes up, Bobby had this look in his eye. He's like, he messes up, we can hurt him. And MVP was like, yeah. I think Bobby Lashley's going to let him in just so the second he fucks up, he's going to just kill him, beat the shit out of him. But, and then, there was the part where Shelton Benjamin was like, yo, guys, come on. let's go. we got some business to handle. Shelton was ready, dude.
Listen. The only controversy I'm gonna take from this is I am mad that them three brothers did not have a black queen out there. Other than that, I don't hear no one else talking about anything.
What was MJF picking him?
Yeah, that's part of the problem. Shelton was it with his jaw on the floor the entire time,
and people were freaking out because there was the one girl, like it was the tall redheaded one.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is I think her name is Mimi. I forget her whole name, but it's Mimi something. But they're like, she was in NXT and now she's acting as an escort. It's like, guys, you know how many, if we really want to go back and we really want to talk about it, you remember, who was that wrestler? The guy that had the bunnies in WWE.
God, what was his name?
Had the party, the party thing and all that stuff. God, I forgot his name.
Rose?
Adam Rose.
There it is.
Yeah, Adam Rose and the bunnies, right? You know how many people were bunnies?
Like some of y'all favorite WWE wrestlers that are wrestling right now at WrestleMania were bunnies.
Yeah, like Bayley, Charlotte.
Well,
the list goes on.
Well, right? not Bayley. Bayley, for whatever reason, got taken out of her spot.
Yeah, she. Oh no, we all know why. It was because when Becky Lynch shows up, people get taken out of their spot, and then they get squashed. That's what happens, especially at WrestleMania.
This is a side note, but I saw that Becky won the tag titles last night, right?
Yes.
She lost them today.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, but it's no different than that. Like, did you know like Gail Kim was a Nitro girl? No, you didn't.
No.
Like, there's certain, I don't know.
It's just grandstanding. That's all it is. It's people wanting to look good for people who want to appear like they are holier than now on the timelines. And it's funny seeing some of these people, because some of these people are also like, they also thirst over people like Chuck Taylor and Hangman, and they're open and active about how like thirsty they are for them. They don't say anything about what Tony Storm says, because Tony Storm says some wild shit.
Oh yeah. Tony Storm says some crazy shit.
They don't talk about any of that, but there are women in a ring, they're wearing dresses, and they are assumed to be sex workers, and this is bad because all sex workers are treated horribly, allegedly, according to these people. That is a bad thing for AEW to do, and they should not have put that on there, and that's not a good thing. And they were used as bargaining chips for MJF and blah 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 blah. I need all y'all to shut the fuck up. Like that, all you're doing is grandstanding. You're talking to nobody. You're talking to yourselves for no reason. You people are the same ones that decided not to vote for Kamala because of things that were not in her control. Because you were grandstanding about something, you didn't want to vote for her. You probably didn't, and we're in the situation we are in the United States. You are those people. That's why I don't take any of you seriously, because your opinions don't mean a fucking thing. Because all you want to do is grandstand for likes. All you want to do is look holier than now and look better than everyone else, because you want to stand on some weird moral high ground that doesn't exist. For a wrestling show where they're not fucking those women.
Right.
Like, what are we doing? Y'all remember wrestling? The storyline stuff? MJF is a piece of shit. And MJF was like, respect sex workers. The people who were complaining about it aren't. Because they're just like, there has to be something wrong with them because they're doing this, blah, blah, blah. Like, just shut up.
Yeah, like, they're also the same people that are like, the Attitude Era was the greatest era. You know how much of that shit happened in the Attitude Era?
You know what shit that was happening backstage with what Vince was doing back there? The shit that he's actually getting sued for right now?
Right. You're a bunch of hypocrites.
Exactly. They won't talk about that shit. But you see a few women assumed to be sex workers. We don't know what happened. I mean, sure, we probably have a good idea in storyline, right? But y'all are just standing up for nothing. You guys are being loud for no reason. Meanwhile, a lot of other shit's going on. You won't say nothing about that. But this MJF storyline you talk about for 5 days. Shut up.
Yeah. I mean, no one talks about the fact that Lana was getting hoed out to Bobby Lashley on Raw every week, and Rusev was acting like a cuck, right?
That was a whole storyline for months.
That was a whole storyline. No one was talking. Where was your outrage about that, right?
Nowhere, because they don't have it. They saw this, they're like, oh, disgusting. I'm sick of y'all. All y'all do is talk.
Yeah. So you know what? In the great words of Lionel, shut the fuck up.
Please and thank you.
So next up, we had another Owen Hart's semifinal match.
Lord have mercy.
This was banger after banger, man. Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita. That's all I gotta say. I ain't gotta say shit else.
Bro, I don't think they got the memo that this was a TV match.
No, they didn't.
Went out there and they were like, oh, we get to wrestle again? You just can't do that spot on me on the turnbuckle, but we're gonna wrestle. And goddamn, did they wrestle?
Yeah. No, like I said, when you have it starting out with Mercedes and Athena as your first match of the night, you know this whole card's going to be a banger. And this was another banger on the card. Those guys went at it, man. I'm not even going to talk. Look, if I talk about it, I'll make the match sound bad. I'll make it look bad. I'm going to tell you, take your ass over there, find some way other than HBO Max that doesn't fucking work right now, and watch this match.
Prophet, they really pissed you off, didn't they? You were upset.
I am upset about that shit. There is one point in the match. I'm gonna say one point in the match. Ospreay hits the hidden blade. Takeshita kicked out at 1. It was towards the end of the match, but he kicked out at 1.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Takeshita also hit Ospreay with a hidden blade, believe it or not. And then, at some point in time, they both got on the turnbuckle. Ospreay headbutts Takeshita. Shout out to all the people that are using headbutts nowadays. I fucking love it.
Hell yeah.
Especially the women. The women's wrestlers are all using headbutts. It's amazing.
Can I say really quick that low key the women are doing it better than the men?
Yeah,
Megan Bain's headbutts are insane.
She looks like she's killing somebody every time she does it.
Mariah May's headbutts, bro. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, let's see. And then, Ospreay had to pull deep. He had to go deep. So Ospreay had to hit the Stormbreaker to win this match. That's like almost like a last resort move, because if he kicked out of the Stormbreaker, it's next. There's one ultimate move that no one's kicking out of.
Yeah, it's actually funny. He really does not use Stormbreaker that often in AEW. It's not funny. Anymore. Yeah. He
was using it in the beginning. When he first started, he would do Stormbreaker and then the Hidden Blade.
Mm-hmm.
But he just does the Hidden Blade because he's like, well, if I do this overkill if I do the Stormbreaker and the Hidden Blade. Right?
That's just proof that he I was talking to somebody about this and they thought I was insane. But Ospreay, as good as he is, has toned down his style from New Japan. He's still fantastic. He's still Okada. Listen to what I'm saying. He's still fantastic. He still do what he was able to do, but he toned it down. And it still works perfectly. Yeah, man.
I think, look, I like this. This is my favorite version of Ospreay. I like the old, I liked Ospreay after he became a heavyweight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like, I'm not a fan of his juniors, his juniors run. But as a heavyweight, I liked him way more.
You would probably like his hybrid moment in 2019 before he really moved up to a heavyweight, because he was bulking up. And that was his last Best of Super Juniors. And he was kind of messing with the style that he has now.
Yeah.
It was still New Japan, right? In New Japan, you gotta fucking go. Especially.
Oh, yeah.
Especially right now also, but especially back then. You gotta be able to go. And he was kind of messing with it then. I'm pretty sure you've seen the match, but his finals with Shingo Takagi for the Best of Super Juniors.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that one.
That is that whole run of the junior heavyweight, his junior run right there, was him changing. But that match specifically is the one that really turned Ospreay into what he is now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a damn good match to watch, especially for people like you who did not like Ospreay as a junior, which understandable. It's very valid. I fully understand why.
Yeah, but I now I feel like he's a more balanced wrestler, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way he is now. He still has spectacular high flying moves. and seeing that shit live doesn't look real.
It really doesn't.
It doesn't look real. So you look at it in the stands, and he's doing these flips and shit, and you're like, what? This doesn't even look real, man. But it looks just... I'll just say this. It looks even more incredible live than on TV. It looks great on TV, but if you see that shit live, it's mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that that's like not... Ospreay can go 100% whenever he wants. And the fact that this isn't like 100% Ospreay is also just... It's just impressive. That's how good he is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, when AJ went on his IWGP run, this is how AJ Styles was.
God bless. That... I go back every once in a while and watch AJ Styles as IWGP Heavyweight Champion every once in a while. I watch his matches with Okada, his matches with Tanahashi. I go through his, like, that G1 run that he did.
Yeah.
He was literally the best wrestler. You couldn't tell him any. He was the best wrestler on the planet.
No, look, there was no question.
No.
there was no question. He was literally the best wrestler in the world at that point in time.
He was out there. He was out there running circles around Okada. And Okada back in 2013, 2014 was... Look, y'all think y'all saw Okada like near the end, what he was doing? Y'all see that Okada in that first few years? Oh, God bless.
Yeah, well, that was when he finally became his own. Like, that, you know, around that time, Okada.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he was a fucking monster.
Bro, Jesus Christ.
People just do not know how much of a monster Okada was.
And AJ was running circles around him. He was running circles around Tanahashi at that time, too.
And that's prime Tanahashi.
Prime Tanahashi.
Prime Tanahashi is no joke.
No, bro. He literally carried a company on his back for a few years by himself.
Yeah. And let's see. No, I think that was before Nakamura blew up. It was like right before Nakamura blew up.
Mm-hmm. Nakamura was around, but he didn't have like he had the star power, but he wasn't Tanahashi. And then eventually he became that star, right?
Yep. After he got that, the Intercontinental belt.
Mm-hmm.
In New Japan. But, yeah, like, that's what Ospreay reminds me of when I see him wrestle. He's literally, at this point in time, I feel like he is the best wrestler in the world.
I don't even think that's like up for debate anymore. Like, I don't. Like, every time he steps in the ring, like, he's doing something incredible. Like all of his matches at this point now, every single one is must see. Like, every single match.
Yep.
And like you said, he's really toned his style for TV wrestling right now. And again, the fact that he can always go further, like this Takeshita match this was probably a lot of people's match of the night. This was their second best version of this match. They had the match when Ospreay showed up at Revolution.
Yeah. That
was the match. This one was still fantastic, but this is still, it's like second. And this match was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no debating it. This match was phenomenal. This was number 2.
Which is crazy to say, because again, that match was
yeah, for a TV match too.
Yeah.
But yeah, incredible match. I look, I ain't gonna over talk it. Watch the match. Find a way to watch it. Ways other than HBO.
I can't tell y'all a secret method, because if they do, it's gonna get sniped. But definitely, the whole show is definitely worth a watch. It's a fantastic show from top to bottom. And yes, I also include the main event,
which we're about to talk about right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's main event time.
Mm-hmm.
So, Death Riders come into the ring. You know, they get there. They're fucking. They're like, yeah, it's gonna be 3-on-2. They ain't got nobody. Then pretty much they're like, hey, if Jon Moxley can fill for Pac, then we got somebody too. So, you had Joe and Shibata out there. They come out, and they're waiting. Who else is it other than Powerhouse Hobbs?
Surprise of the night, by the way.
Yeah, I was like, what? I was like, yeah. Man, look. I'm just going to say this. Powerhouse Hobbs looks right for the ops. He looks like, I don't know, like, the ops looks better with Hobbs in it.
Yeah, Hook works for what he is, right? Like Hook is definitely like a shooter. Like, well, not shooter, but you know what I'm saying. Like Hook is a wrestler. Like that boy can wrestle, right?
Yeah.
But when you see Katsuyori Shibata, like y'all, if y'all listen to this podcast, y'all know how I feel about Shibata. Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Willie Hobbs all standing together on top of that ramp. I thought they could do no wrong. It felt right. You're right.
Yeah, it just felt right. Like Will Hobbs on that, in the group just feels good. Yeah, it felt is the most logical step I could think of, other than like, I don't know. No, fuck that. I'm not even gonna say he's with the 2.0. So no, let him stay over there, like Danny Garcia or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man. So look, if you know this is a Death Riders match, you know there's tons of shenanigans that go on.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. The match was decent, but here's some of the shenanigans that happened. Let's see. So, Moxley grabs a steel chair. Willow comes out and takes the steel chair from Moxley. Of course, at that point, Claudio didn't know what was going on and then ran into a eager Willie Hobbs that spiked him with the spine buster. Matt and Nick Jackson came down to the ring. They grabbed another steel chair. But guess who was there to thwart their plan? None other than Swerve Strickland.
Oh, yeah.
He grabbed that chair and pretty much he swerve stopped the EVPs to get them out of there. And then he pretty much chased them off. Fans were going nuts at this point because they're like, oh my God, are they going to do it? So at that point, Shibata on the outside puts Claudio in a sleeper. He's on the ramp. He puts him in the sleeper on the ramp. Hobbs plants Wheeler Yuta, of course. Because Wheeler Yuta, for some reason, tried to do a tope suicida to Hobbs. His 185-pound ass.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
And he got planted on the announcer's desk for his troubles. Marina tried to hit Hobbs with the steel chair, and Hobbs did his thing where you hit him with the steel chair. He's like, "What are you doing?" It was like a little mosquito tried to hit him. But of course, Willow came in, wiped out Marina Shafir with the clothesline. Samoa Joe counters he counters John Moxley and puts him in the coquina clutch, and Moxley taps out. He had him in it for a while though. It wasn't instant. Moxley was trying to get out, but you ain't getting out of Big Ass Joe, man. Like he had the scissor on you, everything. You were done. So Moxley had no choice but to tap out. So your new AEW Trios champions, Samoa Joe, Katsuyori Shibata, and Powerhouse Hobbs.
Let's go.
And, the whole locker room came out and celebrated with the team. That's how much they wanted somebody to beat the Death Riders. But there's consequences to what happened. We'll talk about that. But yeah, that was the end of the show. What did you think about this match and pretty much Dynamite?
I think Moxley taking the fall was the most surprising thing to me from that main event.
Uh-huh.
Like, I did not expect Moxley to be the one to go out like he did, right? Like, at all. It was actually nice to see, because that means that's the first like dent in the armor for Moxley since he's come back.
Yep.
Also, when the locker room came out, they had all the champagne stuff like that. We haven't done it yet. I'm surprised we haven't. We've been really good. But this is my opportunity, and Prophet, feel free to join me. The one thing I want to say is fuck Eric Bischoff.
Oh yeah. Wait, I forgot. Oh man, did a whole episode without thinking about that sorry piece of shit. Guess what? Now that we're at the end of Dynamite, Eric Bischoff, fuck off. Eat a dick. You're a sorry piece of shit, and I'm glad you don't touch anything in wrestling, and if you do, it goes to shit. So fuck off and eat shit.
His little like, oh, this is definitely a big month for AEW. I know they like it. I don't care though. But it's great for them. It seems like they really want this, but I don't care. I got money. I don't care about this. Like AEW seems like really happy that they're beating this, but it's not even important. Who cares? It's 20 years ago. I don't care. You bitch. No. We know you care.
We know you're salty as all hell.
That's why that fucking piece of shit, Eric Bischoff, fucking eat that shit, you stupid bitch.
Yeah, just fuck Eric Bischoff. That's all.
I know he was upset. I read that statement when he did it on like that Tuesday. Oh yeah, he's salty. He's so angry.
He's salty as fuck, man. He is so mad.
It's so good. It's so good. It's nice. If you don't know what we're talking about, if you somehow live under a rock, Spring Breakthrough for Dynamite was the show that eclipsed WCW Nitro on Turner to become the longest reigning wrestling program on Turner, TNT, TBS.
Yep.
And Eric Bischoff did not want this to happen. He's talked about it for years. He talked about how much he didn't like AEW after they didn't give him a job, despite the fact that he was there for like a couple segments and all this stuff. And he started this nasty vitriol against AEW that a lot of people still listen to. And now he's been very quiet. So that's why I'm happy we waited to the end, because the show was fantastic anyway. But this was just from the bottom of my heart. I just want to say fuck Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, man. Like, nothing else to say, man. And with that, let's go on to Collision, man.
Thursday night edition of Collision.
Yeah.
So, for those who don't know, NBA playoffs started on Saturday. Mm-hmm. So, and actually, NBA and NHL playoffs started on Saturday. People thought that they moved it because of WrestleMania. Sure, you can think that. But TNT had them slots taken up. TNT TBS had them slots taken up. So, think what you want, but that's what that was. Now, we're going to go into the show. And we start immediately with Marina Shafir showing up. We had our commentators, Tony Schiavone, Nigel McGuinness. They were talking about the card. They were doing kind of stuff. But they got interrupted by Marina Shafir and the Death Riders. And Death Riders came out. They started assaulting the crew. They started destroying cameras. They were very upset about what happened. The crowd's chanting, you choked out, like you passed out, all this kind of stuff to Moxley, because Moxley lost and he did not become a double champion because he didn't have those trio championships. Moxley takes the mic and he is very upset. He curses the fans for celebrating like they did. He is mad at the Young Bucks. He said, after this, Young Bucks, I don't like you two, so stay in your own lane. So that kind of hurts our prediction for Anarchy in the Arena. We'll see who replaces them.
Yeah.
Then he reached out to Joe. He said, Joe, I've always had respect for you, but what you did cannot stand. So I'm going to challenge you for my AEW World Championship. And this was like a very motivated Moxley. All the Death Riders were pissed off. They were destroying everything, and they were just out. They were upset. And so we know at some point, most likely Double or Nothing, we are getting Samoa Joe versus Mox for the AEW World Championship.
Ooh, boy.
You have any thoughts on this chaotic start to Collision?
Man, that the announce desk never recovered after this, because Claudio picked that shit up and flipped it over. So it was good. It was damn good.
It was bad. They were, Death Riders went crazy, which we haven't seen that side of Death Riders in a while, so it was kind of nice to see.
Yeah.
Right after this, we had our first match of the night between Lance Archer and the Jet, Kevin Knight. This match wasn't like super long, but it was kind of back and forth. I'm not going to talk about it too much. We did, I low key is kind of surprising to me because I'm surprised they did it, but Kevin Knight beat Lance Archer.
Yeah.
I'm low key surprised they did it, but I'm kind of not, because the Jet's on the rise, which is great. And of course, Kevin Knight looked fantastic as he always does. Archer's Archer. And it was just kind of funny because we were talking about how like stacked the Don Callis family is. So now they have like Archer taking the losses, which is interesting. But yeah, Kevin Knight takes the win. You have any thoughts on the match at all?
It was a fun match. I think, well, Kevin Knight barely won that.
Barely. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like it wasn't like he went in there and like wiped Archer out, but it was like, it was a good competitive match. It was fun.
I really enjoyed it. It was a really good match. Right after this, because we are live on Thursday, Renee Paquette is backstage, and she's with Kris Statlander and Jamie Hayter. Surprisingly, they're going to face off for the first time on Wednesday in the semifinals of the Owen Hart Cup.
Really, the first time?
Apparently. One-on-one.
Okay.
Yeah. And they were basically talking big shit to each other, because these are the two women of the women's division. Stat was like, hey, I know you're good. I know we can both go. So let's just do this. Hayter was like, yep, I know you're good. We can do this, whatever. Kris is like, this is a long time coming, so May the best woman win, and let's see what happens. They get into each other's faces. They get real hyped. They don't have to do a lot of hyping up because it's goddamn Kris Statlander and goddamn Jamie Hayter wrestling on Wednesday.
Yeah.
If you're not hyped to hear that, you have no wrestling blood in your veins. It's going to be fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right after this, we get a letter from FTR that Tony Schiavone reads. And if you don't remember, last FTR was suspended for this week because of their heinous actions against Tony Schiavone and attacking ring staff and basically killing 2.0 and Daniel Garcia. He got suspended for a week. So they have a note. And this note was not a nice note. They did apologize, but it wasn't like a real apology. They kind of talk a lot of shit to Nigel during that thing also, by the way.
Yeah.
So we're getting it set up. We're getting it set up. FTR versus Nigel McGuinness and a partner. Who could that partner be? I wonder. But we'll talk about that later because I have a theory. But we'll talk about that more like next week because I think I would love it to be Danielson because it would be funny. But I don't know how like healed Danielson is. And it would just be funny because Nigel and Danielson hate each other. But right after this, we have another match. We have Josh Alexander and Konosuke Takeshita versus Tomohiro Ishii and Rocky Romero. This was another really good competitive back and forth match to the surprise of no one. We got a lot of Takeshita. We got a lot of Takeshita and Ishii. We got a lot of Alexander and Ishii. Rocky was in there too doing his thing. It was actually a really interesting match. It was pretty back and forth. But the unthinkable happened. And by unthinkable, I mean this apparently had already happened on Ring of Honor. It was already taped. They kind of had like they had like a falling out or whatever, but they just kind of brought it over to AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Ishii tried to tag Rocky, and it was ready for a hot tag, but Rocky jumped off the apron. So Ishii had to was in the ring and got destroyed by both Alexander and Takeshita. And Ishii lost after Josh Alexander power bombed the shit out of Tomohiro Ishii. I guess he might not be using the Seaboard Spike as much because it's just like the J Driller, right? So
yeah,
we'll see what else he uses, but that power bomb was nasty.
It's exactly like the J Driller.
Yeah, it's the same move, yeah.
He's got other things he can use. Like, for the longest time, he was also using the ankle lock. So
yeah.
He might just end up just using that.
Tapping people out. I see it. After the match, this is the crazy part. Rocky goes into the ring. He looks like he's trying to apologize to Ishii and help him up. But someone appeared behind Ishii in a black hoodie. And it happened to be Trent Beretta. And then Rocky and Trent attack Ishii. Don Callis is out there. Some of the other family are out there. Don Callis gets his hand on a wrench somehow. I don't know where he got it from. Because in the ring, he was standing there, and all of a sudden, the wrench showed up.
It's Don Callis.
It's Don Callis. He probably pulled it out of that scar in his head. I don't know what he did. But he hands over the wrench, which is a callback to Chuck E. T. You know that thing from like a year ago. And then Trent hit Ishii in the back with the wrench. And I guess this confirms that Roppongi Vice, Rocky Romero, and Trent Beretta are also a part of the Don Callis family. So now they also have not junior, because Trent's not a junior tag team anymore, but they have 2 tag teams and all those hosses in the Don Callis family. So they have increased their numbers again. Prophet, what are your thoughts on this match in the ending segment?
Match was pretty decent. It was great seeing Josh Alexander in the ring again, like immediately, right?
Guys went back immediately too, which was nice.
I think it's interesting that Rocky Romero switched sides. So I'm waiting to see where that goes, but I think it's cool. I think Roppongi Vice being back is pretty neat.
I love that tag team. Whenever they team up again, I love it. So that was for me, and I love that. Plus, they're part of the Don Callis family, which might be my favorite staple faction of all time, right? Or not all time. My favorite faction right now in AEW?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. After this match, Megan Bang killed 2 women, actually Ashley Fox and Rebecca Scott. We don't have to talk about the match too much. Like, Megan Bang literally just killed those women. Destroyed them. Yeah. They tried, but they couldn't do anything.
There's no trying.
Yeah, they couldn't do anything. Like, it was over. I don't know if you want to talk about anything from that match, but yeah, Megan Bang just killed them.
Oh, it was Megan Bang destroyed 2 nobodies.
Pretty much. Next up, we talked about it before, and we said this was going to happen, but we have Adam Cole, and he's about to wrestle. Not only is he about to wrestle, it is a TNT Championship Open Challenge. So immediately, Adam Cole was out there wrestling for that title. AEW kind of fucked over Dan Garcia. They didn't have to put him in the C2. They really shouldn't have. But it's neither here nor there. That's gone now. Adam Cole's in the ring. Open challenge, so he doesn't know he's going to wrestle. And then we hear the music. We see the Death Rider thing. So we're like, oh, shit. I was like, oh, it's going to be Yuta? Okay, that's fine, whatever. Nope. It was Claudio Castagnoli. So we have left, right, two nerds wrestling each other. And let me tell you, they did not wrestle like nerds. They wrestled like they both wanted to hurt each other.
Yeah.
There was a point where I thought Adam Cole got a concussion because Claudio threw him over the barricade and Adam Cole smacked his head on the floor. I was like, fuck, no, not now, Adam, please. But it looked like he was fine. He was able to finish the match and everything, so I don't think it was anything super crazy. So that's great. But they were beating the shit out. Like, Claudio had, like, a scratch on him. Adam Cole, like, hit his head, like, 4 different times on the mats and shit. Like, they were fighting.
Oh, yeah. It was a fight.
It was a fight. And, like, literally, Nigel said it also, but by the skin of his teeth, Adam Cole was able to pin Claudio for the win. And he has his first successful title defense for the TNT Championship.
That was one hell of a title defense.
If this is what we're going to be getting from Adam Cole as TNT champion, let him keep the title for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I don't even care.
It'd be like his NXT North American Championship run.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. After this, though, Claudio being Death Rider, and the Death Riders were not having a good week this week. Claudio goes over to the announce booth and flips it and breaks it apart, and, like, he is having a temper tantrum. Wheeler Yuta comes out and tries to calm down Claudio. Moxley didn't look like he was really that happy with him doing that. But eventually Claudio got settled and he left. The commentary booth was destroyed. Like, he destroyed the table. He literally flipped it, destroyed it.
Yeah, he destroyed it.
Do you have any thoughts on this match?
Oh, this match was fantastic. I think it was one of the better matches of the night, actually. And yeah, Claudio just, like, pissed off and just, like, flipping the table and everything. Man, that was the announce team had to announce without a table.
Yeah, the rest of the night they couldn't get on the table. It was done.
Yeah, thanks to Claudio.
Ugh, man. So right after the match between Claudio and Adam Cole, we had a backstage segment. We saw Chris Jericho's face. They had to give us a recap of what happened when Jericho said that he was upset, which was annoying. And that led us to Big Bill and Brian Keith. They were backstage. Big Bill is doing what he should be doing. It was like, you know what? He's disappointed in us. I'm disappointed in him. He walked out on us. I'm angry that he did that. And Brian Keith was like, bro, don't do this. Like, we should have been a family. We should have handled it. We should have handled it quietly. And Big Bill's like, why? Jericho wasn't going to do that for us. Why should we do that for him? And so now it seems like we have a beef between Big Bill and Brian Keith, which I'm going to be honest. Probably the only thing on Dynamite and Collision that I did not have any interest in. I do not want them to be beefing right now. I want them to figure this out, and I want them to have a tag run. We don't need them beefing. If this is Jericho's idea, scrap it immediately. Let him be gone. Don't do this. Like, Brian Keith can be upset, sure, but we don't need this, in my opinion. Prophet, what are your thoughts on the backstage segment with Big Bill and Brian Keith?
I don't know. I think it's going to be one of those things where something happens and not Big Bill, but Brian Keith pretty much fully joins with Big Bill. And they further, just become a tag team. I don't think Big Bill and Brian Keith are breaking, are splitting up or anyway.
I hope not.
I do feel they're going to split with Jericho, though.
As they should. It's definitely past due time for that. And Jericho's going to be gone for a while, so just, y'all don't have to do this. And I'm going to be honest, I don't want to see them, whenever Jericho comes back, I don't want to see them circle back. I don't want Big Bill to be in a feud with Jericho. I want them both to just go on and do other things and just move on. Right after this, we had a trios match between LFI. We had the returning Roush, who's been gone for no reason. I don't know the reason, but he's been gone. The Beast Mortos, Andrew Listico versus KM, Rosario Gilio, and LSG, a.k.a. Victims.
Yeah.
Just like the Megan Bain match, LFI completely destroyed their opponents.
Yeah.
Like they tried a little bit, but no. Roush hit the bull's horns. And I said it on Blue Sky, I'm going to say it here. But every week that Roush is off of TV, the bull's horns, like, he does it harder to whoever his opponent is. I felt bad for Cam. Cam looked like he died. Like, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that match at all?
No, but the one thing I will say is just Roush is super over, man.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, like whenever he's on, I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, come on. He's got that dope get up too with the fucking bull mask and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That shit's great.
It's just he looks incredible. Like I don't know why he left off TV this time. Like I don't know, but yeah, I don't see it anymore.
9 times out of 10, it was probably some visa issues or something.
God, that sucks. Hopefully that those should be settled now, and we need to see Roush on Collision every week.
Yeah.
We had a backstage segment with Kevin Knight and Speedball and Mike Bailey, who I call Jet Balls. So Jet Balls was backstage, and then Ricochet interrupts them. And Ricochet saying, "Listen, y'all are new here, so as a top guy, as a veteran, I'm gonna tell you what's going on here. All right, so y'all just listen to me, you'll be fine." Both Kevin Knight and Speedball were not having a thing of that. Also, Speedball is definitely a lot smarter here than he was in TNA, by the way. A lot smarter. So Ricochet and Kevin Knight were about to fight, and then Mike Bailey stepped in front of him, in the middle of them, was like, "No, not like this." Kevin Knight also made Ricochet look like a bitch multiple times because he flinched him, and Ricochet like kind of ducked. It was funny. And then Ricochet, Prophet, I apologize, but Kevin Knight was like, "I can do something that you can't do," and he started flipping his hair. And then Mike Bailey was like, "Oh yeah, you're right." He started flipping his hair too. And then Renee also flipped her hair after they walked off, and Ricochet just had to kind of take that, and he was like really upset. Like, it is still hilarious that Ricochet hates people with hair. It's hilarious.
Haters. We're all haters.
You have any thoughts on this and our new feud between Kevin Knight, Mike Bailey, and Ricochet?
So I think it's gonna be great, just to like have all of them in one point, either going 1-on-1 or interacting in some type of way. I know Kevin Knight is about to go out for Best of Super Juniors though.
Yeah.
So it's still leading up to that Mike Bailey Ricochet feud that's technically still going on.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's great.
And all I'm gonna say is Ricochet has done a surprise appearance in New Japan over the last 6 months. I can definitely see him doing it again.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it was just it was definitely interesting. I really like that. And like I said, I'm very excited for this feud. Next up, we had, as much as I love the match, I kind of wish it wasn't on Collision, but we had the Ring of Honor World TV Championship being defended. We had Champion Commander versus Nick Wayne. This is what Prophet was talking about earlier. This is one of the matches that Christian Cage set up for Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne was by himself. The crowd was chanting very obscene things about his mother, and Nick Wayne sold it off very well. I think Nick Wayne is like, him and Billy Starks are just impressive. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Commander did all he could. It was a very back and forth match, but Nick Wayne was able to beat Commander with the Prodigy Plex and pick up the win. Nick Wayne, I guess at this point, has also become the youngest singles champion in Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's 19, so I guess I get it. But yeah, congratulations to Nick Wayne. Great match. Also, again, he did it by himself. There was no other patriarchy that are out there with him.
Wait, for the men's, right?
Apparently Tony Schiavone, I don't know, I didn't confirm this, but Tony Schiavone said that Nick Wayne becomes the youngest singles champion in Ring of Honor ever. And I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't think that's true.
Who was
I think it's Billy Starks.
Was Billy Starks 19 or 18 when she won the TV championship? That was like last year, right?
That was like last year.
Aren't they like the same age?
19.
Whoever is younger, because Nick Wayne's also 19.
Yeah.
I don't know which one of them is older, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie.
I honestly thought they were the same age.
I thought so too, because they both got those contracts early, right? And they both graduated high school the same year. So I don't know which one of them is older. Like, it's definitely probably some days or like maybe a month between them, but I don't know which one's older or younger. It's possible that Tony Schiavone was wrong, because Tony Schiavone has been wrong before. So I don't know. But you have any thoughts on the match?
The match was fun, man. Nick Wayne is damn good. He's gonna show his ass at the Best of Super Juniors. So
oh yeah, he's gonna be incredible.
He's gonna be great.
The one thing I don't like, we've talked about this before. I need more stuff for Ring of Honor to be on Ring of Honor. Yeah. Like that's my only thing right now. Like I get what Tony Khan is doing with the Ring of Honor titles, right? We haven't seen Bandito in a little bit on like AEW TV, which is kind of nice. But we need like title changes and more things like that on Ring of Honor TV. Because as much as I enjoy watching Ring of Honor every once in a while, it kind of sucks to always see that we're getting title changes and things like that. They do title changes down there also, don't get me wrong, but it definitely feels weird that we get these on like AEW TV and not as much Ring of Honor.
Right.
That's my only nitpick if I have to nitpick anything. But that's been like the Ring of Honor thing, literally for like since he bought Ring of Honor at this point and started running shows. So
yeah,
it's probably not going to change until they get like a TV deal, if that even happens, or whatever happens in Ring of Honor. So who knows?
But just a side note, Ring of Honor, they're adding a new title for the women's division.
Oh yeah, the pure title, right?
Yep, the Ring of Honor Pure Championship for the women's division.
And it's going to be Serena Deeb and Queen Amata, right? Because I saw a thing for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a good match too.
Yeah.
They're adding the title stuff like that, so it's going to be great. It's just we need more stuff to happen like this on Ring of Honor TV.
Yeah.
After this, we get a thing from Top Flight saying that they're going to be in a tornado tag match against Crew next week on Collision. So we'll be able to see that. And there was like a little conversation between Crew and Top Flight. And this is going to be the blow off. This is going to be the match. So we'll see. We'll see who wins that.
Yeah.
And then after, we go to our Collision main event. We have Kris Statlander and Julia Hart tag teaming against probably one of my favorite tag teams right now, Harley Cameron and Mercedes Monet. This one, it was a very good match. You know, Kris Statlander was going to show out. You know, Julia Hart was going to show out. All these women showed out. They're still in Boston at this point, so they're still going crazy for Mercedes. They're also going crazy for Harley Cameron, who again, they make a very fantastic team. I'm not gonna talk about the match too much. There was a lot of things in this. I can tell you though that Tony Storm was at commentary and Jamie Hayter was watching from the back, and it was just a good match overall. Mercedes and Harley did lose to Kris Statlander and Julia Hart, so this is now all the losses on Mercedes' card right now are because Harley Cameron gets pinned, which is funny. But other than that, it was a really good match, very good main event, and a very fun way to kick off, to end a very good week of AEW wrestling. Prophet, do you have any thoughts on this match and Collision as a whole?
The match was fun. I think the thing that makes the Mercedes and Harley thing work is actually even about to sneeze. All right, it's gone. That makes the Mercedes Harley thing like even better is that Mercedes was the one that came up with Harley doing the ventriloquist thing.
Yo, Mini Monet, yeah, hell yeah.
Mini Monet. So, that's like, I think that's really cool. She's like, oh, she's a ventriloquist? Do a Mini Monet. But, like, yeah, the match was fun. I do think, as far as Collision goes, Collision. It was a solid episode. Mm-hmm. Great wrestling. It was a great time. Yeah. Enjoyed it a lot.
Oh, I just remembered. Speaking of Harley and Mercedes, I skipped a whole section on my notes. Their backstage segment.
Yeah.
Where it seems like Mercedes started talking to Mini Monet a little bit. She's starting to crack. She's starting to enjoy Harley's time. But yeah, that's all that was. That's all that was. There wasn't anything super crazy. It was a funny segment though.
Yeah. She started.
She said, "Why am I talking to a puppet?" But yeah, I agree with you. Very good Collision. Solid week for AEW. It just keeps on having better weeks at this point.
Yeah, and I think it's ever since because they were missing one piece of the puzzle, and that was the women's division. Finally fitting all the women's, getting the women's division on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And now that that's there, like, they're firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of that's on like Tony too, because Tony had a lot of these women there, right? Just wasn't utilizing them, and I'm happy he is now. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not going to be like one of those people who's like, oh, yeah, Tony was wrong before. He's going to stay wrong. I mean, he still makes mistakes every once in a while, but at least we're in a good place right now with the women's division, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We just need them tag titles.
Yeah, we need them titles.
I'm hoping, like we talked about it before, I'm hoping after Double or Nothing, we get like a tag title tournament for the women. It's time, for sure.
Oh, yeah. That'd be sick.
Sadly, it can't be Harley and Mercedes because Mercedes got some other things to do. But there are some tag teams that are going to be great. I think if I had to pick an initial women's tag team, I want it to be Megan Bay and Penelope Ford.
Yeah, I would say so. That'd be at the top. Like, my runner-up or second would be Deonna and Taya Valkyrie.
Yeah, we need her back. Like, Deonna hasn't been on TV in a while since she walked out.
Yeah.
I need her to come back ASAP. But yeah, man, that's you have any other thoughts about AEW as a whole this week, or anything that you want to say, any shots, anything like that?
Oh no, I'm done firing shots. I don't need to fire no more shots at the. Well, since we're an AEW podcast, we'll talk to we'll talk about that other company, like they always try to talk to AEW. I have no more shots to fire at that other company.
They were talking shit about AEW again today, by the way, on Pat McAfee show, and I can't avoid this stuff anymore. Like, it just shows up on my feed, so I need to fix that because it wasn't happening before, so I need to fix that shit.
Yeah, there's in the AEW community thing on Blue Sky, there's a whole lot of WWE shit showing up there now. So, yeah.
Yes.
We have to take it as we will.
Yeah. I'm gonna just start like blocking those people from now on because a lot of them are like weird. I don't want to see them anymore.
Yeah.
But man, that's it. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for us to tell you about the ways to follow us and wrap the show up.
Yep.
First off, if you listen this far, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening to us. Thank you for listening to a very positive AEW podcast because they don't have a lot of those out there right now. If you like this, make sure you follow us on Blue Sky. If you're on YouTube, you've seen our tags. You can follow the podcast at TAGPW Podcast. You can follow Profit at Profit, PROFFITT. If you want to follow me, you can follow me at Shikoku. I'm not gonna spell mine. Y'all can just follow me, whatever. I don't care. Make sure that you're following us. We talk a lot about everything. Like, Prophet and I are both on the podcast account. We talk a lot about AEW. I kind of want to do my anime Sundays over there, I think, just to get some anime on there. That might be something fun to get that over there. But we do a lot of that, a lot of talking. So definitely make sure you follow us. And if you're not on YouTube right now for whatever reason, you can definitely listen to us on Spotify. You can look us up, TAGPW Podcast. You'll be able to find us there. Eventually, we're going to have an account over there pretty soon now that we have our setup officially nice and done. So definitely make sure you're following us, listen to the podcast over there, rate us, and just enjoy the podcast. Prophet, tell them about the YouTube, and send us home.
All right, guys. So, the YouTube. All right, there's a few things, of course, we're going to ask you to do. First off, if you like this show, tap that like button. Helps us out. Helps get the show in the algorithm to more people that like AEW and like a good AEW podcast, just like you do. Also, subscribe, hit that bell button, so you get our content whenever it comes out. And I'm just going to tell you, you don't just get one podcast, you get 3. You get this one, Off the Top Rope, which is the show that will always happen every week. It's, unless something happens. This is where we talk about AEW and, I'm going to say soon, New Japan, because there's a lot of New Japan we got to talk about. Also, we have the Command Grab, which is our game show. We talk about, all the video games that we're playing, what we're looking forward to, and then, as far as games, consoles like the Switch 2, and other things. And lastly, we have the show called the OVA, which we talk about anime. And yeah, guys, so with that, thank you very much. And it's that time again. We gotta go eat. We gotta go do stuff. We gotta get out of here. So you know what? We're out.
Peace.